Hi everyone, Kate here for part 4 in my life-softening books series. I hope that you are enjoying this and having a nice time watching it. And I am delighting in getting to make up this list and tell you about these books that I love. And the first one is another series, and that is All of a Kind Family. I cannot tell you how underrated this series is. And I knew that Emma from Bookish Princess, we were already kindred spirits. And then a couple of years ago, she started to talk about the All of a Kind Family series. I think this should be as well known as the Anne of Green Gables series. It should be as well known as Little Women, just like I think about Betsy Tacy. This is one that it should be way up there for people. It is right at the turn of the century. Although I feel like now you have to say which century. So, right, early 1900s, and it is a Jewish family living in Brooklyn. And I love how different that is from kind of the normal kind of Anglo characters that you have, and giving a different experience, seeing what their life would have been like. And I love the deep and abiding love for family and how family matters so much. And those relationships are so important. And it's a beautiful, beautiful series. When the series starts out, there are 4 girls, and I love getting to see their different personalities, getting to see kind of the quarrels that they have, but then how they make up. And it's just beautiful getting to follow this family. And I think there are 5 books in the series, and talking about it now, I'm like, that's one that's going to be a reread before too long. There are great audiobooks of this series as well. So can't recommend All of a Kind Family enough. The next one is The Blue Castle by Ellen Montgomery, her only book that was written for adults. And this is all about Valency Sterling, and she hates her life. She hates her life because she has a terrible life. She lives with terrible family who don't at all appreciate her, and they're just dreadful. They're truly, truly dreadful to be around. And you want the best for her. You want things to go better for her than they are. And I think that what ends up happening in her life is beautiful, and just there are some big changes that happen, and everything ends up better because of it. So yes, I love this series, and not a series. It's just a book. I love this book, and it's got the beautiful nature writing that you see Ellen Montgomery do in the Anne series. It's here, it's beautiful. Now you have to wait a bit for it because things start out kind of grim. So you have to get through that grim part, and then things get wonderful, and it's all good. The next one is one that I am currently rereading, and that is Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. I mean, I feel this is very well loved, but I had to include it on the list. I really appreciate how, as opposed to the movies, this book gives all 4 sisters kind of their space to grow and develop and have story arcs. I feel that in the movies, I haven't ever seen one that does all 4 sisters justice. I feel like Jo, she's really easy to kind of have her storyline get adequate time. I feel that Meg, the only time that I've really felt like her character is given justice is in the PBS adaptation. But I also really can't stand the Amy in that adaptation. I feel the 2019 gave Amy justice. Finally, you get to see Amy as I feel like Louisa May Alcott would have viewed her. Beth is really hard because she's such an understated character. It's just the book. I really appreciate how you do feel genuinely that you get to know all 4 sisters in it equally, and get to see the different unique qualities about each of them. And this book, it just feels like a warm embrace, and I'm really enjoying savoring it this month. I keep having other reading priorities, so I'm not making quick progress through it, but I'm okay with that. And I'm reading the Barbara Heller Letters edition, and it's just delightful to get to pull out physical letters that I can hold in my hand tangibly. So I think it's worth every penny, that edition. Okay, the next one is a duology, and that is Goneway Lake and Return to Goneway Lake. This is by Elizabeth Enright, and it's all about Portia and her cousin Julian, who are wandering around having lovely summer adventures together, and they find this abandoned kind of lake resort that has all of these beautiful Victorian mansions, but now that in the late 1950s and early 1960s have come into disrepair, and they get to each pick a mansion for themselves and have these mansions as their clubhouses and go on beautiful adventures in them. And it's just a lovely couple of books. The next one that I want to tell you about is All Creatures Great and Small, the entire series by James Herriot. Now, I have to say, I think some people hesitate to read the series if they are not big animal lovers. And I don't think you have to have pets or just be very into animals to enjoy this series. It's his writing that makes it. I'm actually not a huge animal person. I like having a cat. And that's about it. So I still love this series, and I can enjoy the humor in it and all of it. It's just so beautiful. And getting to see someone really passionate about what they're doing. I think that's what it is, that finding someone who's living out their calling, like he is clearly meant to be a veterinarian. And it's just clear that he feels very much drawn to that. And I think that's what I really love about the series. So I have not yet read, I've never read the last one, which is Every Living Thing, and I'm planning on having a wintertime read of that. Also, seasonal awareness in all of these books, and I just love any book where there's the passing of seasons. So yes. Then the next one is the Thrush Green series by Miss Read. I mean, Miss Read might be the queen of life-softening writing. The Thrush Green series actually I prefer over the Fair Acre series. The Fair Acre series is the one that I've been hosting read-alongs of, and I still enjoy it because it's Miss Read. But the three Thrush Green books that I read, I know that I enjoyed those more than the 10 Fair Acre books that I've read. It's just following a small village and getting to see the daily comings and goings, ins and outs of the life. And it's quiet writing. It's beautiful writing, though. And I feel that it has this kind of microscopic feel to it. When you have slice of life, you can have a microscopic lens for the daily comings and goings of the characters. Really enjoyable. Then the next one, and I can pull it out right here. Son of the Deep by K.B. Hoyle. I fell completely head over heels for this book back in 2022. I read it twice in that year, and I'm definitely going to be rereading it in 2024. I missed it. I missed it in 2023. This is a Little Mermaid retelling, but gender swapped. So it's a merman instead, and then instead of a prince, it's a princess. And I came to love, I loved Orfeo and Rose. It's Rose, right? Yes. Orfeo and Rose. And getting to see, oh my goodness, everything that they go through. Something about stories where the length, you get to see the length that someone will go to be with someone else is so unbelievably romantic to me. I find it just so moving. But what I appreciate in some of those stories, then, they're really reckless. They don't care who they hurt in the process. But in this, they're also constantly thinking of the community that they are a part of and their people and wanting everyone else in their society to thrive. It's just beautiful, and it's a selfless love. Love it so much. The next one I want to talk about is David Copperfield by Charles Dickens. I have read this book 2 times, and each time just been in awe of how much I love a Dickens. It feels like such a different reading experience from some of the other ones that I haven't enjoyed by him. And I think, oh, if only all of his books could be like David Copperfield. I just love it so much. Oh, it's written in first person. And I find that part of it is probably what makes it really compelling. And you're following David throughout his life. The cast of characters that he interacts with, though, that's what makes the book for me. There's some really winsome characters. Mr. Micawber, Betsy Trotwood, Agnes, and I find that all together, oh my goodness, and Peggotty and her family that live by the seaside in a ship that is not sailing anymore. It's retired. I just find so enchanting. This book is full. I love, it has this beautiful mixture that Dickens is really excellent at. And you see this in A Christmas Carol, of light and dark. So you have these delicious coziness, you have delicious coziness throughout, but then also there's some really dark plot lines, and there's a really beautiful balance that is struck between the two. So I love David Copperfield, and I'm really excited to read it aloud to my boys. I have installed in our house, we do Victorian Literature Friday, and one of the book that I'm reading right now are the Jungle Books. So it's more than one, it's the Jungle, the movie was called The Jungle Book, but the books are the Jungle Books. Anyhow, I am over halfway through the first volume of the Jungle Books, and we're enjoying it so much. After that, though, I think the book that I want to read aloud is going to be David Copperfield. So really, really enjoyable. Then a Daphne DuMaurier, and it is my favorite Daphne DuMaurier, and that is The King's General. It's historical fiction, and it's got a lot of political intrigue. But the thing about political intrigue, and that I appreciate about this book, is it's very much kind of from the female gaze, where kind of the women at a time when they didn't have much political power in society, they were sitting at home doing daily life. And so I love the intermingling of that. The tension between those two is done so skillfully in this story. So there is a lot of sitting at home, but Daphne DuMaurier writes it where you feel like you cannot get through the story quickly enough. You have to know what is going to happen to these characters. Thoroughly, thoroughly recommend it. It's Civil War era in England, which I haven't read a lot of fiction set then. So it just does remind me, talking about it now, like I want to search out more fiction set in England at that time period. Okay, then the next one and the final one for this video is Why Didn't They Ask Evans? It's possibly my favorite Agatha Christie. There are a lot of Agatha Christie that I have enjoyed, so I hesitate to have a favorite, but I know after finishing this, I declared it my favorite, and I haven't read one since that I'm like, no, this is definitely my favorite. I love the caper atmosphere of this. The book starts out with a bang when there is the main character, and he is golfing, or rather, he's a caddy, and the person that he's with is golfing, and they hear screams. And they go out, they're on the top, way, way up the cliffs by the beach, and they see somebody down on the beach, and they can tell they're not doing well. They're about to die. And so Bobby goes down, and the man looks at him, the dying man, and he says, why didn't they ask Evans? And then he dies. And that's all the information Bobby has to go on. So thus follows the adventure of Bobby. I love that this has humor. I love that this is very plot driven. I love that there is some romance in here. It's set in Wales, and it feels very distinct to Wales. There is a fabulous adaptation of this that came out, I think 2 years ago now. That's what motivated me to read this. So I loved it, and I'm due for a reread at some point. Okay, so that's 10 for this. I lost track of my list. That is the 10th one. I hope that you are enjoying hearing about all of these life-softening books, and that it will inspire you to maybe reread some that you have read or pick some up that you haven't read before. Thank you as always for watching, and I will be back with another video soon. Bye!